Ayesha Jhulka, was it for the good that you said no to a film like Roja? You always denied your alleged relationships, say Akshay Kumar and Khiladi. अक्षय और आपके बीच में अट्रैक्शन भी नहीं था.
अट्रैक्शन हो सकता है, वो तो बहुत सारे लोगों में होता है.
There was a big thing made out of you and Mithun also.
That's ridiculous.
And then came Nana Patekar. Manisha walked out from his life.
No, please.
Because of you. Prem Kaidi, Karishma's debut film, you said, I don't want to wear a bikini.
He was murdered by my caretakers. I did the muhurat and everything and I was thrown out of that film.
You were engaged.
I was never engaged to him. It's a erased chapter.
It's a closed chapter.
It's erased. At least I feel that I don't belong here. You know, I cannot fit in. Even on the sets of Jeeta's, Aamir would play a prank and then I would run behind him.
Govinda, what do you think is happening in his life? There was this, usko goli lagi, uski wife अजीब interviews दे रही है. There are also reports that the two are going to split. Ayesha Jhulka, thank you so much for being on my show, the Vickey Lalwani show.
Thank you, Vicky. Thank you for inviting me and it's such a pleasure.
It's my pleasure. And well, let me start with the very fact that I was seeing Jo Jeeta Wohi Sikandar in a theatre in this Aamir Khan festival which is going on. And I read a very interesting statement by you in one of your earlier interviews that this girl was so much like you. Anjali was so much like you. Now, let me ask you straight away that in childhood or in school or in college, wherever, did you have that kind of situation where you were in love with someone or you had a crush on, but that person got gravitated towards someone else?
That's a very different question. Actually, if I rightly remember, when I was in school, I think I was in the 8th standard, that was the time when, I was in a girls' school. I was in Loreto Convent and Mount St. Mary's was the boys' school, which was right opposite. And it was back then called a brothers' school. But most of the love affairs actually started there. You know, a lot of girls from Loreto and a lot of guys from Mount St. Mary were, associated with each other.
Yeah.
And so there was this guy who was, he used to play football a lot. That's my memory. Like, it's very faint, but something that I remember. And I used to always feel that, oh my God, this guy looks so good. And, I really had, I can't say a crush because us time itna samajh mein nahi aata tha. But it was just that you had a very definite liking towards somebody. And that boy actually turned out to be my friend's brother.
Okay.
Because we were invited over a birthday party to her house, and I saw him there, and I said, "Oh, this, so when you're so young and you have this thing," but he already had a girlfriend. So you go through that thing of feeling sad, but then you grow out of it very fast. So that is the only thing I remember.
This is what happens in Jo Jeeta Wohi Sikandar, that Aamir gravitates towards.
But Aamir comes back.
Yeah. So did this guy come back to you?
No.
You tried?
No.
You told him?
No.
That you're fond of him?
No.
Who knows, if you had, he might.
Yeah, but then I wouldn't have probably been here. Who knows? So everything that happens for a reason.
And for the good?
Yes, for the good.
Was it for the good that you said no to a film like Roja, which Mani Ratnam was directing?
Yeah.
And Prem Kaidi, Karishma's debut film, you said, I don't want to wear a bikini. But now if you look back at those films, Roja and Prem Kaidi, I think you would have created a bigger splash.
I don't think that I am from the mindset of doing something that I'm not comfortable with and then create a splash. I've never been like that person. So Prem Kaidi, for a very definite reason, I said no, and I don't regret it at all. Because I would have never been comfortable doing what I'm not comfortable doing. This film, Roja, yes, I do feel bad, but there is nothing I could do because there was Jo Jeeta and this, and the dates were clashing with each other. So Jeeta has done that for me any which ways. I wish that could have been adjusted and I could have.
You'd already started.
Yes.
You spoke to Mansoor Khan?
The dates were, I think I spoke to Nasirji about it. But everything was planned, the schedule was done and everything. So I don't think we pursued because I definitely was enjoying my shoots on Jeeta's set. And
As for Prem Kaidi, did you tell the maker immediately no on day one?
yes.
Okay. They were so clear that the introductory scene was...
Yes. They made it very clear that this is how it's going to be, and I made it extremely clear that I won't be comfortable.
You didn't ask them to change, reconsider?
They very clearly said that that's the main thing, that's how it's going to be shot, and that's the introduction of the girl. And so we want to just ask you if you're okay with it. There was no question of me asking them to change it. I said, I'm not comfortable.
But there was a school of thought later regarding your, principle that I will not do intimate scenes or whatever. In a movie called Aach with Nana Patekar, where it was said that Ayesha Jhulka has done intimate scenes.
I never said I won't do intimate scenes. I said I will not do revealing costumes and clothes that I'm not comfortable. Back then when I was very young, I had my preferences of not being comfortable with certain things and being comfortable with certain things. So it was not that it was not a primitive thinking or anything, because I belong to a services background and a very forward way of growing up, in a way that we always had a very friendly atmosphere even with our parents. So it wasn't something like that. It was just comfort and not comfort, I mean, today if you see 20 years later, I've worn shorts also. In my normal life I do, but certain times when it is specified, I get jittery and I feel uncomfortable. Why is it specified, that?
You thought the focus will be too much on that scene?
I don't know. I mean, it just never felt right. And when I was very young, Vicky, I was very impulsive in my decisions. I used to not think. I used to say, nahi, mujhe ye nahi karna, ye karna hai. It was very intuitive and it was very impulsive.
Yeah, I remember you made quite a noise, if I use the word, and maybe that word is wrong, and you raised an objection to the body double that was used
Dalal.
for you in Dalal.
Yeah. I don't regret that also, because I think I was right. I just thought that it's unethical not to know about certain things that you are involved with, a film that you are a part of. And a journalist friend like you was the one who told me that, this is happening, are you aware of it? And that's when I got to know something like that. And then
So you hadn't seen the film?
No, I saw it, but I didn't see that scene. So the preview that was done was without that scene. And then the press preview which was done, which was closer to the date of release, was with the scene. So that's when I wouldn't have otherwise known, probably till the release. So
that was unfairly hidden.
And that is why I raised an objection, because I just felt cheated.
And who was the journalist?
He was, I wouldn't want to name him, but he was a very close friend of mine. He did a lot of interviews of mine. And he just called and said that we saw your film and this is what you've done this. You know that they've used a body double for this scene. I said, what body double,
He realized that it's a body double.
Everybody can realize it's a man. So you can easily, even if you see the film now, you can see a man running. So with the wig and everything. And obviously everybody could make out that it's a double used. Had it been, maybe if they had told me that, we are doing this, I may not have reacted. The whole thing coming from somebody else just made me feel that, because I've always had a very great rapport with all my film units, I've never had this thing where something like that had never happened before. So maybe I reacted the way I reacted.
You didn't call up the makers and blast them?
No, I came and met, I went and met
Or you
Prakash
just went to
Mehra
the
ji.
press, I thought. Oh.
No, I went and met Prakash Mehra ji.
Hmm.
And I asked him that, this is what I've heard, I'd like to see.
I'm surprised coming from someone like him.
I don't know what was the thing. And they said, no, there's nothing. People know it's a double. I said, yeah, but I don't know. And I don't approve of it, unless and until you show me and you should have spoken. So whatever must have happened that time, I don't even remember very well. But yes, I did speak to the press about it. I went to IMPA. I raised an objection. But the thing was that I came to know just when the release was happening. It was just, they used to do these press previews just a day or two pehle. So it was very late.
Kuch hua? Sorry, worry bola.
Haan, he did.
Prakash Mehra apologized to you.
Yes. He said, we are very sorry that we never realized you will be so hurt and, we should not have, we just took it as, we never even thought it would become such a big thing. And actually, to be very honest, public didn't even really realize. Nobody even realized. But it was me personally, I felt bad. It was not a big thing for anybody. But for me, it was.
So, there was one incident in your life, I remember. You recommended some actor to a film. And that actor went on to tell the maker that I want the heroine changed.
Really?
You said this in an interview. Yeah. And then you were out before you could blink.
Oh, yes. You're right. Yes, years back.
Yeah, but this is very intriguing. And who was that actor? And how could someone play such a dirty game with you?
I will definitely not name the actor, but this is what was told to me by an insider of the same unit and somebody from the director's team that this is what has happened and that is why the decision. And then it took a long time. They wouldn't get back and then suddenly they would get back and something. And finally we decided that we don't want to do this film because we don't know what is going on. And
But the actor did it.
Yeah.
With the same heroine whom he had recommended.
Yes.
Was he in love with her?
I don't know that. I don't know. But yes, this happened once. I had no memory of it also, honestly. But these little things, I don't know, maybe people go through a lot more. But I was doing so many films at one point that it didn't matter एक आधी नहीं भी करी तो.
वो period मतलब मुश्किल तो होगा जरूर थोड़ा because see you're not coming from a film background. You didn't have a godfather. You didn't belong to any camp. I don't know if camps existed then. They do now.
Yeah, they do now. But see, I was just talking about this the other day. I don't know how to put this up, but I feel somewhere it was a plus that I was not from a film background because I didn't come groomed. I didn't come with a notion, a prefixed notion that aise karna hai, aise karna hai. I just came the way I was, and I was tagged also that girl next door image was given to me, which I felt that I was who I was, and I was accepted. There was people were signing me not because I was somebody's daughter or it was purely because I fitted their characters or did the work pretty good or however best I could. And there was a certain innocence in all the girls that came that time that it was not a very polished mahal where you had to know everything beforehand. So it had a little normalcy. So that was a plus. I don't know what minuses could have been. Yes, could have been that, okay, this one is so-and-so's daughter or son, so the preference comes in. It's fine, beyond a point, Vicky, you can't fight for everything in life. And you cannot belong everywhere. There's something called destiny, and there's something called, so I, instead of feeling bad about what I didn't have, I always used to feel good what I have got in my hand, because so many of us don't even reach where I've reached, from an absolute no film background, from an absolute different city. It's not that easy. It was just, so I have to actually, I always feel I'm blessed to be here, because it's not that simple.
Did you face the problem of casting couch?
Now, this is something that I've answered 20,000 times even then. Pehli baat to, when you are 16, 17, 18, you know, in those times, what is casting couch? You know, that was a big question mark for me. And my mother and my father, one of them, were always with me. Nobody has seen me during those 20 years without one of my guardians with me, my parents. So there was probably nobody had the guts to approach easily, because there was always one shield. And I have never shown any desperation to do anything beyond my means. So I guess I have never faced it. In fact, a lot of times our colleagues of that time used to always talk to each other कि ये क्या है, you know, what is this? And everybody used to say, पता नहीं ये, what is this word that is coming out? Could be that you know, a percentage or 10% of people or 20% of people must be facing it. So those are the right candidates to talk about it, because जब हमें या ऐसा हुआ हो कि कुछ हुआ हो और हम लोगों ने या मैंने रिजेक्ट किया हो.
Did you get any wrong vibes and your father and mother said, no, this film we are not doing?
Yes, that happens. That used to happen. That, okay, you know, this is not sounding right. And again, why I wouldn't understand is because I, you know, I've always been a very fun girl.
Yeah, but anything particular they said which made your father wary, which made your mother?
Not my dad,
Very.
but my mom used to feel that, you know, suppose if somebody would just say कि हमको ना कुछ discussion करना है, तो हम इनके साथ बैठ के कर सकते हैं अंदर, तो that would be an indication आप मत आओ, that kind of thing. So I think I remember my mom telling somebody just a few years back about it. I don't even remember what it was. So she told my manager that I don't think we want to do this film, you know, because it's not really required to. There are so many films we are doing where nothing. But I'll tell you one more thing. This could be the initial, you know, I came to the industry with Kurban. So there was no struggle platform where you have to go to offices to ask for work or go for various auditions. And I have only given one audition, which is Kurban's screen test, you know. And if at all any other photo shoots have happened or any looks have happened, they've happened after you have decided to do that film. So once you have Kurban and you have Jo Jeeta, Khiladi and films like that back to back, you leave that bracket. It's not that easy to come and approach you and do all this.
ऐसा भी नहीं हुआ कभी कि कोई रोल आपको दिया है, आपने हाँ बोल दिया है और उसके बाद सडनली नहीं, ये तो बड़े घराने की लड़की है, ज़्यादा इन्फ्लुएंशियल है, स्टारी बैकग्राउंड से है, इनको लेते हैं और आपसे ये रोल छीन लिया गया?
नहीं, मैं not because of the background of anybody else who did it, but when I signed Kurban, I was signed for a film called Narsimha. And I did the Muhurat and everything, and I was thrown out of that film. And reason was never given to me. So that was a shock, because the Muhurat was done and a lot of publicity had happened and everything. And just at the beginning of my career, when I'm doing Kurban, and you know, those days films used to take a long time to shoot. And then I signed this before Jo Jeeta, and I was removed from that film. So everywhere, everybody was writing, this new girl has come in and she's been thrown out of this film without the reason. And I had gone to Delhi with my parents because we were not living here back then. And we were in the process of shifting the base. And after the Muhurat, on the same day, I had taken a flight back to Delhi with my mom. And when I came back, I was not there in the film.
You came to the set and realized?
No, came back to Bombay.
And
I was told, I got a call that
from
their production.
From some
No,
Unit.
from the N. Chandra production, from the film.
Okay, but N. Chandra himself didn't call you. Hmm. You didn't call him back and ask why?
I did, and not I. My mom spoke to him, and there was no specific reason given, and they said, our film is a big film, and this she's doing Qurban, and some reason was given. I don't know. It was a very vague.
They didn't want you in Qurban. Perhaps they wanted you to
be launched with that. But I had already,
exclusively.
Committed to the film. I'd shot for that film, so I can't get out of that.
Did you see Narasimha?
No, out of anger.
Gusse mein.
Out of anger. But I met N. Chandra after years on a set. I was shooting at I think Chandivali studio, and he had come to see some set, and he came on my set, and we met after a long time, and I told him, I said, he asked me, "You're still angry with me?" I said, "Yes." And then of course we made peace with I had also done so many films after that. That was, I think, 7-8 years later.
You always denied your alleged relationships, Ayesha. Let's start with, say, Akshay Kumar in Khiladi. Everywhere it's written. As they say, there is no smoke without fire, number one.
Not necessary.
Number two, sometimes there is attraction, sometimes there is infatuation. I remember seeing an interview of Sheba, who's now married to Akashdeep. And she said, yeah, I mean, there was a time when she was with Akshay for a brief while maybe. And wo umr mein ho jata hai. It's nothing wrong. And of course, it's nothing wrong. Do you think there was something between you and Akshay?
See, if you talk about things were written and smoke without fire, ye wo sab, to there is, you open the tabloids of those years, I have been linked with everybody.
वो आते हैं उन पर.
How can you be
Let's
linked
talk
with...
about Akshay first.
No, we are very good friends. We were very good friends. We have always had a very fun relationship and a lot of masti. And when you're doing 6-7 films together, back to back, you're meeting each other every third set pe. And believe me, you know him. He's a fun guy. There is, full of pranks. जैसे आमिर करते हैं, set के ऊपर भाग रहे हैं हम बच्चों की तरह and all. उस age में, honestly, it's a bachpana that, you are all the time. I still have more guy friends than girlfriends, even now. So that does not mean that you have to be romantically associated with everybody or one person. And when you feel, in today's times, what is there to hide? We've crossed that age and stage. But can't we be good friends? Can't... And I've never, with any of my, like somebody was asking me, who's your best friend or a 3 a.m. friend in the industry? No one. No one, because I have never been able to make friends beyond my sets, It's just never happened. It's not intentional, but it just doesn't happen. At the same time, I pick up my threads. Lot of people from the industry I meet, whether it's Aamir, we met on the reunion, Salman, so many times. We bumped into some event happening or something, or Jackie Dada or Govinda. You just pick up the threads from where you left it. You never feel that there's a gap in between. That's the rapport you have. In fact, when I got married, Govinda came with Sunita ji and danced on my wedding with absolute family thing. And he told my husband that you've picked up a gem of a girl from the industry and she's our daughter and you have to, that. Now, it is such a nice feeling when you feel that your industry is like family, and I still feel it. I protect the industry a lot because I feel it is my family, because I have actually grown up here. So, ye link up, wo link up. In today's time, to answer these kind of questions is also very primitive, to be very honest, because I feel aaj ki date mein to live-in relationships also are not a big deal. There's so much of progress that has happened in terms of thinking. You see younger children now, they don't care. Today you could be associated with this one, tomorrow with that one. but that's your personal life. And I think it's not such a big deal if you do have any kind of, you know, uh, relationship or anything. It's normal. But when you don't have and you are written in one week, I still remember, and I probably have those articles also, where back to back with 3 sets you're working or 4 sets you're working with 4 different actors, you're connected with all of them.
तो आप ये कह रहे हैं कि अक्षय और आपके बीच में अट्रैक्शन भी नहीं था?
अट्रैक्शन हो सकता है, वो तो बहुत सारे लोगों में होता है, बट इतना डिफाइंड और अंडरलाइंड नहीं है जितना the way it's written or
see, when you say
spoken
friends, it's not necessarily attraction.
No, see, I don't know. I mean, if you are talking about physical attraction, then I don't think that's the right word or the right definition of a friendship. Friendship means that you can have fun together, you can enjoy, you are scolded. We were scolded most of the time on our sets because of the pranks that we used.
No, by attraction I mean physical attraction.
No, I don't think that is a very nice way of putting it up. We have been very good friends. We've always had that fondness, I would say.
It's not a nice way of putting it up, but I'm asking you in hindsight. The years have passed by.
I don't even think about it, honestly. My mind goes towards these things, I feel we have moved on in life. I'm in a different zone of my life where, from 16 to 26 there's something, then from 26 to 36 you get into another zone. You don't keep looking back and saying that wo kya tha ya waise I don't know, I'm not made that way, to main kabhi sochti nahi hu.
There was a big thing made out of you and Mithun also.
That's ridiculous.
Mithun Chakraborty.
That is ridiculous because Mithun Dada is like such a senior person, and again because I was probably doing a couple of films with him.
Yeah.
3 films I did with him.
Yeah.
And this Dalal song became a hit.
You also did Meherban,
Dalal, and one more film I did with him.
Yeah.
Don't remember the name. But that is, see, this
Himmat
is
Wala.
So these are very embarrassing situations. In fact, I met him on the sets of Genius a couple of years back. Anil Sharma's Genius had done one special appearance. And Dada is like, you can't even, we are kids. We can't even imagine. I wonder how people can just, without thinking, speak. It's very, very sad that,
See, it's what you're saying, I understand, but that also is a possibility because, as you said, live-in relationships are common. So is a love today, in today's times. And even then, with someone who's 25, 30 years older than you.
Yeah, but
Or reverse.
Could be. Yeah, no, I'm
The
not
boy
saying
can be
it
younger.
can't happen. I'm saying this didn't happen. So you feel very, it's very embarrassing that you have a, iconic senior actor whom you are actually going and wishing, in a very particular way. And he would also treat me like a kid.
You had some explaining to do at home when so
No.
much was written.
No, never.
Whether it was for Akshay, whether it was
Never,
for
because, like I said, I always had my mom or my dad. There was no explanation required. In fact, they used to tell me, "Ye sab mein apna time kharab mat karo. You concentrate on your work if you want to work."
The days you were upset.
I was never upset, but if an article would come and even if I would read it, they would laugh and say, "Ye kya hai? Isme kya padhna hai?" So, I think there I feel that, I don't know, my services background really adds up there. My dad and mom and all of us have been brought up.
Very broad thinking, yeah. And then came Nana Patekar.
That's also ridiculous. To be very honest, I do not even want to speak about it because I cannot speak about the how it was because it didn't have anything to do with an affair. And I don't know why, because we did one photo shoot, which I think Jayesh did. Yeah, I think he did. Unnecessary. And then I did a play with him. Again, look at the seniority. Look at how it's even for me, I don't know how people operate or how people will not even have any, embarrassment of even talking about it. I can understand that, okay, my co-stars who are my age and my, you know, वो ठीक है लिखा बोला we've had fun. I've never denied having these childish things which we do even on the sets of Jeeta's. Aamir would play a prank and then I would run behind him on the sets to catch him, and then we're running like a school and laughing with each other. Qurban ke sets ke upar again we would have that playfulness, or with any of the sets of Jai Kishan or Khiladi. Khiladi though we used to get scolded. So these are my age group people. I hate to be even talking about somebody whom view I
Because this was written perhaps a little more, and
Not really.
and it was said that Manisha walked out from his life.
No, please.
Because of you.
I don't that. To be very honest, I have nothing to do with all of this at all. And
Do you and Manisha talk when you all meet?
well, we haven't met in a long time, but we've
At
done
all?
shows together. Of course, we've done shows together, and we've had a good
Events, you
rapport. No, we used to go to the US for these tours at that time. I've never had any kind of neither there were any questions nor any answers.
अच्छी तरह से बातचीत होती थी.
हाँ. मुझे तो समझ ही नहीं आता कि ये सब न्यूज आती कहाँ से है.
Arman Kohli, the elephant in the room.
So that is something I never denied, because there was a relationship that happened, and I have never denied it. So
You were engaged.
not really engaged. I was never engaged to him, and that's a chapter that I choose not to talk about because it's not worth it.
Why?
Because it's not worth it.
It was a steady relationship.
Yes, but it's
You all
not
were
worth
madly in love with
talking.
each other.
It's not worth talking because I would like to forget that chapter of my life forever.
You called it off.
I called it.
It was said that he fell in love with someone,
No, that is something. वो तो
and because of that, you were obviously upset. Infidelity.
no, there were a lot of things. I really wish not to talk about it.
Infidelity in love.
That's one of it probably. But I, certain chapters of my life, certain people in my life, I choose to omit them forever.
There is a similarity in the way you speak to Tanisha Mukherjee when I talked to her. I did speak to her about 6-8 months ago. She was also, the tone which you are taking here, that, I don't want to talk about him, I don't want to talk about him. Is the man very dominating, very abusive?
Honestly,
That he leaves such scars
no,
in your mind?
No, there's no scar. It's a erased chapter.
It's a closed chapter.
It's erased.
Dominant, abusive?
Honestly, certain people or certain things in life are not even worth mentioning and giving that importance. I don't even want to talk about it. It just doesn't make any difference in my life. तो मैं क्यों बात करूं?
When you took that decision, how did your parents react?
My parents, in fact, were so not only supportive but very, very strong in their mindset that I should be taking this decision.
Is relieved the word?
Yes.
Were they already telling you?
They
And
were
you were
telling me,
lingering.
I was also thinking, but I was not taking a step.
You were in denial.
Not in denial, but
शायद ठीक हो जाएगा.
नहीं, this happened like a snap. There was no pre-planning or post-planning to it.
One fine day you
Bas, it was a
got
snap.
up from the right side of the bed and...
It was a snap.
Did
And I'm glad.
Did the industry tell you something like after you broke off, good
Huh?
or bad?
No, it was spoken about, but I don't think I ever indulged in anything. A lot of people told me that it's a good decision, and I don't need anybody's stamp on that decision because I knew it was a good decision. So
Because you had friends. When I read about you on the internet and some of the magazines which I have read earlier, be it Bhagyashri, be it Hema Malini, you had friends.
Yeah.
So did they, support you and say, oh, fine, what you've done is right?
No, I mean, ऐसे it's nothing like that has happened. But you know, when you have friends or people who care, they will never rub those things. You know, they're understood that this was not, and I'm very stern about it. I'm a very strong person. For me, if I decide this is not it, nobody can change my mind to it. So I'm an extremely strong person that way. And I've always been a very strong minded person, a fighter in my life. I don't sit and brood. I don't sit and I don't owe explanations to anybody if I don't have to. So I just feel that certain things are not to be.
So if you don't brood, are you telling me that it was easy to come out of it?
It wasn't easy. Nothing is so easy. But I don't remember what happened 20 years back.
No, I'm talking about that time.
That time only. It may not be easy, but when you are bitter about certain things, I think it becomes easier to be out of it.
That phase of life, do you think you gave too much importance to this personal relationship and your career?
Yeah. So I kind
you
of
started neglecting
sidelined my career. And
what mistakes did you do?
These
when
are
you
the
say you
mistakes
sidelined your career, means what?
I didn't give a lot of. I didn't sign a lot of films that were coming my way. I gave more importance to my personal life than my professional life. Yeah, I mean, these are the main things basically. But I think that was just a phase of 2 years.
But you didn't sign films, means was it coming from him that no, don't stop, don't sign films, or was it coming from you that okay, अब तो शादी करनी है, अब पिक्चरें कर ली?
एक तो ना, I don't think हमें इतनी importance ही देनी चाहिए किसी को कि.
No, it's a step of your career. It's that turning point in your career where I think you could have done a lot more.
Yes, I could have done a lot more, and I have very openly said that there are mistakes in my life that steps that I've taken wrongly.
So was it coming from him or was it coming from you?
I don't know. Maybe somewhere it was both. And nothing happens with the pressure any which ways. And it's not right that you shed your thing on somebody else and say कि नहीं ये मेरा decision तो था ही नहीं and all that. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. सब कुछ आप if today I decide that I don't want to do this, that is my decision also. So yeah, but sometimes in life, and that's how you learn, and that's how you grow, and that's how you mature.
And then you get married and take another decision, which is surprising in a way. I won't have kids. Now this decision was again Sameer and you
both together.
Your husband both together.
Yes. And I'll tell you why. See, I never got married when I was 16 or 20. Okay, I got married at a later stage in my life. And I feel that at that time, my mindset, I was doing a lot of social work. I was going into the slums. That's a part of me. You can't ask me why I was doing it. That's how I am. That's what I feel like.
Today also you do something.
I do a lot. And I don't like to talk about a lot also. Because
no, we will talk about the animal care, which
so what
is
I'm
so
trying
important.
To say is that, what I'm trying to say is that I do it because I feel like doing it, not because I want to show people that I'm doing it. And that is why 20 years, 25 years of my life that I worked so much for the underprivileged or the animals, I have not spoken. I have not even... it's just when somebody made me realize that, listen, if you don't talk about it, you will not get more support and people won't know that they can also do this. And that...
Yeah, but if people want to approach you also for a problem, they won't know that you're doing it.
No, more than that, I used to always say that people should be aware that, we must give back to the society in our own ways. How do you feel like doing it? That is when I said it made sense that, okay, let people know that you're doing this. So maybe 2 more will get up and say कि हम भी कर लेते हैं कुछ.
So are you telling me that if you had a child, suppose, let's be like taking a hypothetical question, your social work would have got neglected?
No, I did not take this decision because of such a. That's a shallow reason. I would have managed that also, But the main reason is I'm a very highly emotional person and a very, very, as strong as I am on one side, I'm extremely emotional on the other side.
So it's a tough exterior, but a soft interior.
Only when I get into that mold. And that happens with, if it is my flesh and blood. I've seen my mother, how she's dedicated her entire life, and most of the mothers do, to their children. I'm not saying that motherhood is something, no, everybody should have their preferences. But I'm entitled to my decision and my thoughts. And just a motherhood will not define who I
So
am.
yeah, if you're an emotional person,
I would have been like I'm even so emotional with a pet. I know how I am. I don't want to be bonded so strongly to something and be my mother in terms of the emotion thing. I can't explain this. It's
that she had towards you.
she left everything and it was only the children, both the girls. I have to do a lot more in my life, which I was very clear. And I never wanted to get married because I always used to tell my family and my extended family and my close friends that, why I don't want to get married is because I don't want to be answerable to somebody for everything. Because my aim in life is to do this and to do this and to do this. And I want to work for animals. I may want to work for, people in the villages. I may want to do this. I may want to. So I don't want anybody to stop me.
तो फिर शादी
करेक्ट आदमी के साथ की ना,
क्यों की?
because वो मेरे साथ खड़ा
How
है.
did you know that he's correct?
Of course, we had a courtship period and I didn't get married to him.
Still,
It's like that.
still, we
I
have
had-
cases now. Again, if you're comparing,
Yes,
we have compared twice
yes,
before in this interview,
Yes,
present times and
of course.
past. You date a person today for 10 years,
You don't come
and
to
in
know.
10 days it's over.
That you can't say anything about anybody. I feel that the only
So you did
good
take the
part-
plunge. You did take a gamble.
I'll tell you how. I had a straight talk with him when I met him and when we were courting.
Conditions apply.
Not conditions. It was like, this is my mindset and we were mature people. We were not young children, So even he had a very mature approach towards thing. He understood what I'm saying from where I had met his family. He knew my family very well. And so first I spoke to him and he said, I understand completely from where you're coming, and I also want to do a lot. In fact, he does much more than I do. He has that one side of him that he never speaks about. But if I take care of 20 children, he takes care of 200. If I take care of 100 animals, he'll take care of 500. He is that person. And in fact, while we were courting, I used to work for a project in a slum where I used to actually go with my volunteers and, talk to them and their children. We had a project where, we used to give them art classes and tell them about hygiene and women-centric things like if there are fights happening or don't allow anybody to hit you and stuff like that. He used to actually come to the slums and work in that. He was part of that volunteering unit that was working.
We must compliment him.
Yes.
And so have you all picked up animals from road, say dogs and cats, taken them home,
I've
looked after
always
them?
had my pets from the streets, always. I've picked up. In fact, I had a very lovely baby of mine who was a lab, and he was, so his mother had littered for 8 babies, and people bought all 7. And this 8th one was a lanky one, the last one. And nobody was picking him up. My vet came home and he said, there's one, he knew that I always either will make somebody adopt a baby or, I'll always try to, I can't keep so many at home. So I'll always try and, so he said, there is this baby who's, so I said, why don't you get him home one day, let us see. And so he came home, it was like one very thin, he never looked like a lab puppy from any angle. And he was ignored by his mother probably for the milk or whatever. And he was running in my house and all. I said, isko chodo, because I had spoken to my friend that, I'm going to give you a gift. I'm going to gift you a puppy, and I just couldn't give him away. And he was with me for 15 years. So I have done that even during COVID. Me and Sameer have actually buried so many of the strays who have been without food, without. So हमने खुद, like, we never even had help at times where we could not even dig the ground, where we did it ourselves. The Ramteen number, and Rocky's case. After that, though, I was
Yeah, I remember you were so upset
for
about
months. Even now,
that
I
dog,
feel
and
so. Yeah, even now I feel, when I think of how he must have.
let's tell the viewers in brief.
So I had this amazing baby from the streets. He just walked into my home when he was a little baby. He just walked into the gate, and I adopted him. And he was so loving that his eyes, when he used to look at me, there was so much love in them that you're the world for me, that kind of look. And after 7 years, he was murdered by my caretakers, and during COVID. So I can't get over that even now. I feel that, just that thought that how he must have suffered with that strangulation, it just kills me.
I know you had called me.
I know, and you were such a help, Vicky. I can't tell you. I can never forget you, because what you did for me that time, it was that very few people do that. I could pick up the phone any time and call you, and I've done that so many times. Like, I was giving you reports of each and every step because you actually had called me, I remember, and said that, what is the update? Not once. I think you called me up so many times. What's the update? And I would say the report is not being filed, the charge sheet is, and you would actually call them. And so very few people do that.
This is one problem we have in journalism, that a lot of us do stories and then leave it.
I pulled it. I am still
we don't follow
case.
up. We don't find out anything further and further and further. Because
it's just an article, no?
It's just for that day,
exactly.
And the next day you don't even remember.
But you have followed it up for 3 months, if you remember. I will show you the messages. I always look into it, and I always give this example to a lot of people, that why you are there where you are in my phone book is because those messages from you, I still have them. And the follow-up that you have done, I have not seen anybody else doing it easily.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that compliment.
I genuinely, you know it, that I genuinely...
I know you genuinely mean it.
Mean the whole thing.
But, that brings me to one more question on journalism, where I saw you saying in an interview that today the journalism has changed. You were a little upset about those magazines writing about your, relationships and alleged relationships, whatever. How would you compare the journalism today and then? And let me put it across the table for young journalists to hear, that there is no fact check. There is no call made to anybody. If one website has carried it, 20 websites have carried it, attributing it to the previous
article,
which is fine. But provided you're sure of the credibility of that article, credibility of the journalist, and it's not just for your number, because reporters today are given numbers by their bosses. Aapko no story website pe chadana hai din mein. What happens here is that the journalist, and I would say the poor journalist here, has to fill numbers. Otherwise, the next day he gets a letter from the boss, or some meeting is called, kal aapne 7 kiya, 6 kiya, tumhara to KRA hai, and all that. I don't know. I just can't understand. And when there is a KRA of a certain number of stories every day, he's bound to do false stories. He's bound to do any story which doesn't even read like one. He's going to put anything out.
See, back then, kya hota tha?
Back then, I feel we did so much of fact checking. And even today, I do it.
I don't know. See, the times have definitely changed a lot. lot of times people like me don't even want to do work, certain work that comes our way, because we just feel that, at least I feel that I don't belong here. You know, I cannot fit in. I always tell people that why just the film industry and the actors, you know, this happens in journalism, this happens in banks, this happens in corporates, this happens in a very normal life also. So just because we are in that limelight, so everything is हर field में होता है ना. What you are saying is happening in your field, so you can probably understand it better. We can understand it from our field that, you know, क्या changes आए हैं या how. एक तो it's not right for me to say, but social media is something I can't understand.
But still you're reading news on your phone?
I read my papers.
You still read your newspaper?
We get our papers.
Great.
We don't read it on the phone.
But let me tell you one downside there also.
But it will go one day.
The papers are lifting news from the websites towards the night also and just putting it out. You can see when you read the paper, you can see that. I'm not talking about the front page story or the page 2 story. I'm talking about a lot of other stories in entertainment here and there.
I wonder, ये papers बंद अगर हो गए तो people like us, how are we going to read what we have to read? Even honestly, books, you know, if we like to read books, I had gifted my husband a Kindle, and I told him, listen, you know, this is the new thing, and you can download all your books, because he loves reading. He didn't use it even for one day, saying, I want to feel the paper. I want to read. I want to actually read. I cannot. So he's made a big library at home, and he's put all his, even today, wherever we are, he finds a bookstore, you will find him inside for hours picking up his books. He says, I need this feel. Newspaper to us, he sits and reads because of the feel of the paper.
Yeah.
You know. So I guess, but हम क्या बोल सकते हैं? You know, this is times have changed. 10 साल बाद पता नहीं क्या होने वाला है.
You said there are times when you feel you're not fitting in the system. Has there been a role or some kind of an offer कि ये character play करो, and somehow you felt that what is it? It's nothing, and I don't want to do it. Is that what you're telling me?
There are so many things that I have been offered in the past few years.
Give me those instances.
Well, again, you know, see, it's very unfair.
No, but if you say you feel strongly about not liking the role, it's nothing wrong in that.
No, not liking the role, liking the entire scenario of the approach of doing a project, you know. It's that it's not like before. It's very difficult to explain, but like I did Hush Hush, I still felt very close to home, you know, maybe because Tanuja was a director from films, and, you know, the whole setup, and Abundancia was like super great with everything. So I never felt कि मैंने OTT, that was my first OTT that I did. Shush was Juhi, me, Chahana, and all these girls thing. And Tanuja Chandra was directing that. Then the Atul one was Happy Family. That was also a lot of fun. See, luckily for me, I have not taken a wrong project where I've entered it and then felt कि ये क्यों कर लिया. That has not happened. मैंने करा ही नहीं. Because somewhere on the discussion level, you know, when you keep discussing, पहले story आती है, फिर script
तो उसमें क्या ऐसा क्या है जो आपको uncomfortable हो जाते हो?
मुझे लगा कि everybody is same. You know, it's like, how do I explain this? It's like if you have been in the industry for 30 years and done a certain kind of, you've made a certain kind of position or a mark, at some point of time on this particular project, everybody falls into the same category.
Are you telling me it's a very rehearsed corporate structure?
It's become like a very
and there is no that
feeling, no personal
back and
touch. forth. See, ये correct hoga because today this works, but I'm not used to it.
I don't see the strike rate is just about 8% in the industry.
Whatever, but I'm not part of it because
You think the movies are working?
I need to belong to a unit. You know, I need to feel that connection that, okay, I'm enjoying this work. I'm not finding that, so I'm not doing it.
Don't you attribute the bad phase which Bollywood is undergoing to
I
all
do,
this?
and you know, one
to
more
all
thing
this.
which I must point out is that a lot of times people come and say, "How many followers do you have?"
Actors
don't
are signed.
understand.
Actors are signed
But I don't
on the
understand.
number of followers.
I said, "Follower? Matlab kya?" That's when they said your social media account should have millions, and you know, people who they do this reel and that reel and say, I do what I like to do. I can do, even my team comes and says करो, तो बोलते भाई नहीं, मुझे जो मेरे दिल से निकलेगा और मुझे आप 10 चीज
तो
दिखा
मैं
रहे हो,
करूंगी।
मैं करूंगी जहाँ मुझे लगता है मैं ये कर सकती हूँ।
Hmm.
मैं कभी नहीं वो करूंगी जो मुझसे होगा नहीं और मुझे सिर्फ acting करनी है, you know. Like I like to do fun things. I like to do. I'll do whatever I feel like doing. You want to put, you put. Don't put, don't put. I don't care. I will not run behind making my followers cross that millions just because I have to.
So they have told you that you don't have sufficient followers. We are not signing you.
Not signing you, nahi. You don't have sufficient followers. This one has sufficient followers.
बात तो वही है।
Not signing नहीं बोला जाता ना, ऐसे तो कोई नहीं बोल सकता।
चलो ठीक है।
But
मेरा बोलने का अंदाज वो था।
Indirectly कि
मैं कॉर्पोरेट से नहीं हूँ ना।
हाँ, तो that one has got।
अभी तो एटलीस्ट नहीं हूँ।
तो मुझे नहीं समझ में आता ये मुझे ये पैटर्न ही नहीं समझ में आता। तो मैं तब मुझे लगता है कि मेरा बैकफुट जो है ना, और मैं वो चीजें कर रही हूँ जो मुझे दिल करता है।
वही अच्छा है। मैं
एनिमल्स के साथ काम करती हूँ, मैं पेंट करती हूँ, मैं कुक करती हूँ, मुझे जो चीजें करनी है मेरे लिए वही अच्छा है। जहाँ आप फिट नहीं हो रहे, it's better not to enter that mold, no? Because you can't mold yourself. I can't mold myself.
But are you ready to play a mother to, say, a Kartik Aryan?
Why not? What is wrong
Varun
in playing
Dhawan?
a mother or playing your age or playing a character? Even when I was in my 20s, I did a film called Vishwavidhata where I played Jackie's wife and Sharad's mother. So,
But today, you're okay with it?
Why
if
not?
You're presented just as a mother.
Why not? But the role has to have meat. There has to be some substance, not just a mother. Otherwise, I don't have to.
Have you received that kind of offer also where you were told to play a mother, but
there's nothing in it? There's nothing.
Kokla.
बहुत ऐसे बहुत सारे offers आते हैं. My team will be better. Every third day they come up with some script that this is happening. I do Zoom call. Some of them don't even want to tell you the script in detail. I'm not used to it. You know, they'll just tell you the outline of the subject. Earlier on, how the director used to actually sit and narrate the whole script and tell you scene-wise that this is how it is. So you start building that while you're listening to it.
I want to conclude this conversation with Govinda, whom you've always spoken very highly about.
I respect him a lot.
I respect him. I love him a lot. The way he dances, he brings a smile to your face. What do you think is happening in his life? Have you been in touch with him? Because you have spoken so highly about him everywhere you go. You know, there was this, usko goli lagi बीच में, और फिर उसकी wife अजीब-अजीब interviews दे रही है. There are also reports that the two are going to split, and I don't know. So, have you kept in touch with him of what is happening in his life?
No, honestly, when I heard about the gunshot, that was the last time I had. Actually, we both shared the same secretary, the same manager,
Shashi
Sinha, for years. Of course, then I stopped working. Shashiji is still with him. So that time I had messaged Shashiji that I've heard this, how is he doing? And I hope everything's fine. And he messaged back saying that all is well, and that's it. After that, I don't know what is this whole thing, because honestly, the kind of high regard that I have for Govinda, I have the same respect for Sunita also, because again, whenever we've shot for a film, she's come. Whenever we've gone for any show, even for my wedding, both of them were there equally, you know. For my Mehendi ceremony, both of them had come, and even after my marriage, Govinda had come home to meet my husband separate. I mean, of course, he knows him, but generally that he was in the area, and I said, why don't you come in for a cup of tea or coffee, and then he said, "Okay, fine, I'll come." But that was years back, and I've never had any connect for the last couple of years. In
I
that
thought you
way.
might have picked up the phone and called him.
Honestly, I didn't know all of this, which is, I think, a very recent development. And I feel that
It's not very recent, but
I've heard this very recently that there could be an issue, but I don't think. Again,
उसको भी हो गया एक दो महीना. हाँ.
I don't think so, because I just wish them well, and I think they're made for each other. They're like really fun couple, to be very honest. Whatever I've seen of them, they're amazing. There's a different kind of fun both of them have with each other. It's like a very vibrant relationship, and it's very funny. It's like it can make you laugh. It's like so much. You see the life they both have. It's like they're lively people. I like such people, and I have huge regard for both of them.
Let's wish that everything goes
Of
well for
course,
them.
everything goes well. I'm sure everything is well.
Yeah, his son is making a debut very soon with Madhu and
Great.
Yash.
It's
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Aisha, for this
Thank
lovely
you.
conversation.
It was, really
it was
nice.
great talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Vicky.
Thank you.